Nama Om Vishnupadaya Dadikaya Piyatmane Shishimat Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Iti Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audaya Madhuyam Kunaischa Yuktam Vadam Vedanyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Sirase Namami Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachade Satarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Acharya Simharupine Shishimad Bhakti Pragyana Kesava Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my most humble obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Astata Shishimat Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I offer my most humble Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of my Siksha Gurus and my Param Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Bhakti Bhagyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, to all Shri Guru Rupa Nukavarka, and to all the Vaishnavas, to Shamrani Didi, and to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas here present in this room. I'm very grateful to be invited to speak a little bit on the appearance of Srila Gurudev in the Western world. I was contemplating on how Gurudev was spreading the mission of Srimad Mahaprabhu all over the world. This morning, Shamrali Didi spoke so beautiful about how Srila Prabhupada asked him to come and spread the holy name of Prem Ras Nam Sankirtan. That Prabhupada gave everything from A to Z, but he still kept something locked. And the locker in the lock was locked, and the key is with Srila Gurudev. And when I met Gurudev was in 90, maybe, I think it was 87, and he was invited to speak in Krishna Balaram Mandir on the occasion of Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj's disappearance day. And he spoke so beautiful about his relationship with Srila Gurudev, how they were spending their time in Vrindavan, that Prabhupada was then renounced and that he had nothing left, like Shamrani Didi explained, when you surrender, then Krishna takes everything away from you, but he gives everything 1,000,000 times more back. Prabhupada said, I left 3 children and now I had 300 children. At that time he had 300 children and so many temples. And so Gurudev was associating with Srila Prabhupada in such a loving way that he actually asked Srila Prabhupada, what are you doing? Why don't you take sannyas? You're so qualified. And so it so happened that when our Param Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj came to Mathura, that he told his Gurudev, please give him sannyas. And Prabhupada then accepted sannyas from our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj. And Srila Gurudev was present there when he prepared his danda, his cloth and everything, because Gurudev already had received sannyas from him, and his name was also Bhaktivedanta. So Gurudev said that in one sense, I'm his senior sannyas god brother, but in other ways, he's 1,000,000 times more senior than me in bhakti. So in relation to Srila Prabhupada, he actually gave that what Prabhupada wanted to give, but the devotees were not ready yet. Because when Prabhupada left, I think the most senior devotee was maybe 12 years old in the movement, which was still quite in young age. So he asked Gurudev on just the day before he left to please help his devotees because they had to learn so much more. So he did so, and we had a great fortune to have those lectures recorded, and they're all available on our Bhakti archives, which you can find on purebhakti.com. These are the lectures of 1991-92 with the GBC leaders before they were banned, as Shamrani Didi explained, 95. They were not allowed to be and meet our Gurudev anymore. Otherwise, they were expelled from ISKCON. So most of the gurus, they could not be expelled. They felt they could not take that sacrifice to give up all their positions, comforts, and even disciples and join a Rasika pure Vaishnava. But there were just a few individuals who were that surrendered, and one of them is Shamarani Didi, Vrindavan Vilasini Didi, and some other beautiful souls who just gave up all their whatever positions they had and just, chose the pure bhakti association, Vasika Vaishnava Association. And as Gurudev said, when you give up everything, you get everything back. So now Shamarani Didi also is doing so much service as usual. And she has been very instrumental in spreading Prabhupada's glories all over the world. The glories which Prabhupada wanted to spread, but was not, his time was up actually, and he left, as Gurudev said, the remnants for Gurudev to chew on. So he opened the box and he unlocked the box in the box, and then in the form of all his books, like we have so many beautiful books, we can read about what Prabhupada really wanted to give. And that was also because Mahaprabhu, he comes only once in the day of Brahma. And that is, I don't know how many, but ones who know calculation well, maybe Haridas knows, Haridas Prabhu knows in how many billion and trillions years Mahaprabhu appears. You know?
I think it's like 8.3 billion.
I thought it was 311 trillion.
Maybe it's more.
Or maybe that's Brahma's lifetime. I don't know.
Yeah, and one day. He comes every day of Brahma. So in our worldly years, Mahaprabhu, he came only 530 something years to Navadvip Dham. And as Gurudeva had explained, the reason why Mahaprabhu appeared is to taste that what Krishna wanted to taste. That means that the love which Srimati Radhika has for Krishna, the beauty of that love, and that affection she has for him, and what she experienced. And he wanted to experience that because he just could not understand that. And another reason, Shamrani, Arajo, Bhagavan, Rajas, Tanaya. Pramana, Maryam. Yes. So that's another slok I still have to learn.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach
Yeah.
was that there's no other worshipful deity than Krishna of Vrindavan, and his Dham Vrindavan is as worshipable as him. There's no other love that's as high as the young brides of Vrindavan, the gopis, and the evidence of this is Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amalam Purana. It is the pure, spotless Amalam, spotless Purana. This is the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this verse is by Viswanath Chakrabarti Thakur, who says, "I'm not interested in anybody else's teaching."
So that was the essence of Mahaprabhu's appearance in this world after so many trillions of years. And our line of Madhvacharya, because we are coming from the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya through Madhavendra Puri path. So this mood came in our line through our disciplic succession. Our Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written so many books, and his hope and desire was that this mission would be spread. And he had his son, Bimal Prasad. At that time, he was praying for the ray of Vishnu to appear to help him in that mission. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared. And he took up that mission after chanting 10 years of his vow was 1 lakh Harinam. So it took him about 10 years to chant 3 lakhs Harinam daily to complete that vow. And then after that, Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva appeared, and they said, there's some more work for you to do. And so then he started the mission. He started opening the Gaudiya Mats and trained the brahmacharis and spread that mission what Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to give through the line of his Guru Varga. And that came down to his disciples. Before Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj went to the Western countries, Hridai Bon Maharaj went, Yavar Maharaj went. There were a couple of his senior devotees, disciples who came to the West, and they were also successful in some way, but not as successful. Prabhupada, who touched literally everyone's heart and spread the Harinam in every corner, nook and corner, and Gurudev said in every hill, top of the hill of the mountains, in all the islands, in all the oceans, he spread in all the streets and galleys of the world, he spread his Harinam. And that was Prabhupada's glories. He had actually nothing, 40 rupees when he went on the boat with a bunch of books and a pressure cooker, thinking that, what shall I eat when I go to the West, and a bag of puffed rice. And that's how he arrived in Boston Harbor with no one receiving him, just a family who was a son of a friend of him from an India family background, and they just hosted him, and they were not vegetarians. But anyway, that's how Prabhupada started, so simple. But what he had was the whole parampara, the Guru Varga, the Mahaprabhu, and the Panchatattva, Radha Krishna, and all the associates in his heart. And he came to share that with the Western world, which he did so successfully because he had a vision. His vision was, one interviewer asked him when he just arrived, and he was preaching a little bit in one of the yoga centers. Swamiji, how many centers you have and how many disciples? He said, I have so many centers all over the world. I have disciples everywhere. And he just started. But that was his vision. So that means that if we have a big vision and we pray to Krishna, then that vision will also be fulfilled. Like Shamarani has a very big vision of a beautiful temple in Miami with a big guest house and a restaurant and art gallery, and if possible, Goshala, and a nice ashram for ladies and a nice ashram for gentlemen, and that is just the beginning of a vision. Jai, and it will happen. Because when a pure devotee desires something, or the disciples who are very sincere, serving their pure devotee, then why Krishna? It's a matter of a finger snip to give it. So he can destroy the planets in a second, and he can create planets in a second. Why not this? So then Prabhupada, he came, and then he inspired Gurudev. Gurudev said why he chose me to put him in Samadhi. Actually, it's a very deep meaning that when a guru is leaving his world, then the one who puts him in the Samadhi, means in the, Samadhi we call it, then that person is actually the next Acharya. And he asked specifically our Gurudev to put his body in Samadhi and write the mantras on his body, which are the names of Srimati Radhika, I guess. I don't know. Eh? The Gopi mantras. So obviously Gurudev was the next one after Prabhupada to spread this mission all over the world. So then Brajanath Prabhu, my Gurudev said that he is his son-in-law and I'm Gurudev's daughter. So he's my husband. And so he was very inspired because our background is we joined ISKCON in the late 70s, and Brajanath Prabhu had a position also as a temple president in Amsterdam. We are from Holland, made in Holland. And so he was responsible for one of the duties, which was the Prabhupada Centennial. That was 1996. That would be celebrated that Prabhupada left, appeared in this world 100 years ago, and they wanted to make a very big occasion in ISKCON. And Brajanath, my husband, was in charge of, with Lokanath Goswami, to reunite Prabhupada's family. That was one of the lotus petals of the mission which they wanted to fulfill. And so he was thinking, well, that is quite an endeavor that can only be done by someone who is in good relationship with everyone, and that could only be Gurudev. Because Gurudev's relationship with Prabhupada was very intimate. Most devotees who joined in the West that don't know actually anything about Prabhupada before he came to the West, because he had so many relationships and so many glorious pastimes. And so he thought if Gurudev comes to the West, then he can really reunite Prabhupada's family and inspire others to come again and sprinkle water on those little seeds which were planted by Srila Prabhupada, and they were actually drying up. So Gurudev, so he asked Gurudev, actually asked Sripad Madhav Maharaj, what do you think if Gurudev can come to the Western countries? And Madhav Maharaj was very enthusiastic because he also thought that would be a very good idea. And then Gurudev agreed that he will come to the West only one time, because he felt that being in Mathura, he said, I don't want to leave Vrindavan. I want to stay in Vrindavan and do my bhajan. I have no interest to make any followers. I just want to do my bhajan. That was Gurudev's mood. So he was not so much but he said, okay, if you arrange everything, my lodging, my food, my programs, and he said, I will just be a statue. You put me down somewhere, and I will speak Harikatha. So, so the rest that was then up to my husband to arrange. So he did that, and then in 1996, that was a very glorious day. Rupa Manjari knows 5th of May is Bevrijdingsdag, which is Liberation Day. That means that day the Dutch country was liberated from the Second World War. And on that specific day, which also happened to be Akshaya Tritiya, which we celebrated just 2 weeks ago, that whatever you start on that day will be everlasting and all auspicious. So Gurudev arrived in Holland on that day, and then Gurudev saw all these beautiful cows and flowers and all these flat roads, which like silk, no humps and no noise, and nice blue sky with clouds. And then he said, now this country became Holy Land. Because the other name is Holland, but he called it Holy Land. And as Didi mentioned this morning, when he arrived, so many devotees were in the airport, and he was like, I only know a few devotees from Holland and where they came from. So he was so happy. So then he stayed in our house, because we had a house which we created for Sankirtan devotees to stay, and at the same time we stored all the BBT books in Dutch language, and plus we also invited sannyasis from ISKCON who needed a break and stay with us and just have a good time. I was cooking for them, and so we invited Gurudev to stay there first, and so he stayed with us for 10 days And then it became like first a few devotees came. We had like already 40 people who wanted to take initiation. We had far too little japa beads. We didn't bring that many from India, so we had to buy some japa beads from ISKCON, which they were very hesitant to give. But they sold it to us for a good price, so they had some profit. And so like that, it was a snowball effect. We were in Holland, very beautiful programs. To the Namhata devotees we had been cultivating. Gurudev went to the School of Philosophy, which is from the Rudolf Steiner school, and he spoke very beautiful on the topics of Bhagavad Gita, because they also study the Bhagavad Gita. And then we had some yoga occasions on yoga schools. And so many more people came. My parents came to see Gurudev first time. I was so nervous because the previous ISKCON guru, my parents didn't like him so much. So I was very careful in telling that he's a very nice gentleman from India, and please come. So my mother came on the day, which was Mother's Day, on the 6th of May, a few days after that May. That was Mother's Day, and so Gurudev, when she came, Gurudev gave her a garland. And he said, "You are my mother, and this is for Mother's Day." So I think the ice melted right at the spot. My anxieties float in the air, and she was sold out to him. And then he hugged my father, and he said, "Oh, you have such a nice daughter. She's also my daughter, but she's also my mother," like that. So he called my mother all these years afterwards. Even he gave her Harinam initiation, and he called her Mommy whenever he saw her. "Mommy, how are you?" So sweet. So Gurudev was so expert to melt everyone's heart, whoever came in his presence. It was just absolutely, they just liked him and loved him and were charmed by his penetrating blue eyes, because his eyes were so extremely blue, very unusual for an Indian to have such a blue eyes, who looked at you, and it was like a razor's edge, like when you go for X-ray, or how you call this other ray, which is going, MRA, right? He just goes directly to your heart. He knows exactly who you are and where you are, so that's only a pure devotee who can do that, and you feel it, and you think, wow, that's going to be really scary, because he's going to take my heart. And he did. He said, "I love to go and collect hearts, and I put them in my pocket, and I shape them up and make them very beautiful, like beautiful lotus flowers, and offer them to the service of Shri Shri Radha Krishna." So he collected many, many hearts, young hearts, old hearts, from all kinds of countries. And one way or another, I felt, I don't know why, but I was so fortunate to be traveling with him. I don't have any qualification. I never went more than a high school, so my education was very little. But what I knew, that I just wanted to serve him, and that's all I knew, and just be with him as much as I could. So I don't know, but I was so lucky to be able to travel with him and do some menial service, whatever was needed. I was happy to do for his service. So from Holland we went to England. From England we went to America, and then we went to Canada, and then we came back finally back to Holland on the way as a hop over to back to India. And then he asked Prabhu, he said, "So what do you think? Was it successful?" And Prabhu said, "Yes, it was so successful. Actually, devotees are already inviting you to come again." And he said, "So what should I do?" He said, "Well, come again." So then he came again next year. The same year we went to Malaysia and to Asian countries. And there again he captured all the hearts there. So many devotees who were initiated by Prabhupada, he again revived them about their duty towards Prabhupada. He said, "Your Prabhupada is so qualified. Please surrender and do what he wants you to do. Just give one lifetime to his service. Just do it. I will give you neck beads again. I will remember your Gayatri mantra," because some of them were not even remembering the Gayatri mantras. He said, "Just give your heart to Prabhupada." So you can see Gurudev was so selflessly assisting Prabhupada in his mission. And then he was, also distributing his lectures. Like I remember in New Jersey, Shamrani was asked to read the purport of the 9th verse of Upadeshamrita. And the purport Prabhupada says that one should live in Vrindavan, be on the guidance of Rasika, Bhavuka, Vaishnava, and like that absorb yourself in Braj Bhakti, Braj Ras. And Prabhupada said all that in his purports, and then it was Danudar Swami. He asked him to read it, and then Gurudev said, "Okay, can you read it again?" And then again, he was reading that Prabhupada said this, and he said, "So we should do that, isn't it? It's Prabhupada's desire to do that." So Prabhupada, as Didi was explaining, he really wanted to give that because he also is in that Braj Ras Bhakti. He was not only cutting the jungles, but he wanted to give this ras, this Manjari Bhav. And as Didi also explained, how many times we were singing Tulsi Arti, Mora e abilas, vilas kunja diovas, naya ne divosada, yukala ruparahasi, namo namo, tulasi Krishna preyasi. So every day, up to day in ISKCON, singing this beautiful song. And what do you want to be? You want to be in the Nikunjas as a Manjari and serve Radha Krishna Yuga Kishore. Prabhupada wanted us to do that. So Gurudev was actually the only one who took that courage to speak boldly. Even his own godbrothers were telling, no, you cannot just say this to everyone and everyone. And Gurudev was careful actually. But still, he said, someone has to say it. If no one says that, then it will get lost like camphor. It will disappear. So that's why Gurudev's books, like even Gita Govinda, he said, I publish it because if I don't do it, then someone else will publish. And then the nectar or the what really should be in there will be lost. So like that, Gurudev was giving so much. And I don't want to take too much of your time because Prabhu, last night in Vrindavan, he prepared something because he actually was very instrumental to encourage Gurudev to come to the West. And I want to leave some time for him to give his presentation, if you don't mind. And if you have more questions later, I'm more than happy to tell more stories and more whatever I can do according to my ability.
And this is it, because she's leaving very early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow, maybe around 5:30 from here, together with Maharaji and with my dear god sister Jayashree, who I met here. Also, she was initiated by Gurudev in the airport. It's amazing. Gurudev was just so. That was a funny story. I just can't believe it. He was flying one time with KLM in the earlier days, and maybe 97. He was flying back to Holland. And then usually Madhav Maharaj makes that amazing kitri. It's like from another dimension, another world. If he comes here, please ask him to make that kitri with tomatoes and chutney. So we had a hot pot, those who help Bon Maharaj, Sripad Bon Maharaj, they have a hot pot carrying them, and then you take it out. And then, so in the airplane, Gurudev, when the plane was in the air, then hot pot opens, and then one container with a kitchen, another one with the chutney, and then some tofu slice or anything. So one steward came by and she says, wow, that smells so nicely. And then Budara was sitting next to Gurudev on the other side of the hallway. And then he said, oh, this is prashadam, this is sanctified food. And it's a very special way we are vegetarians. And then Gurudev gave a little bit of that kitri to her, and she took it. And then she was like, wow, I never tasted something like that. And then she asked so many more questions to Budaya Prabhu, who's also very senior Prabhupada disciple. And then he was preaching to her, about the philosophy and what we're doing, that the position of Gurudev. And she became more and more. She said, I'm a vegetarian. I have been looking for this for so long. And then Buddha says, well, and then he talked with Gurudev. He says, can you maybe help her? And then Gurudev gave her the Harina Mahamantra and initiated her at the spot in the airplane. No, that was someone else. She was in the airport. No, no, that one was in the airplane. It was a lady from Holland. So Gurudev is so merciful. And then whenever Gurudev went out the airplane, then we used a wheelchair for him in the later days. And then he was just standing there and all these people was coming out and had this darshan. And so they walked around him like that and then they were looking at him like, who is that beautiful personality, So he was just, wherever he was, he just giving so much mercy when he was in Holland and he did his first morning walks. Because our house was actually, we had no neighbors, we had only meadows with cows. It was in the countryside. And then Gurudev took his long walks in the country road and then the cows were just running to him. Ooh, 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 ooh. And Gurudev, he was so happy to see these cows and petting them and they were licking his hand and he said, oh, so even mercy to the cows or so when a pure devotee, and Gurudev said, when devotees wanted to ask questions during the morning walk and he said, you don't know where I am. Because wherever he went, he saw any river, oh, this is Jamuna. He saw any mountain, oh, this is Govardhan. He never left Vrindavan, and wherever he went, he took Vrindavan with him. And there's a beautiful slok how wherever the pure devotee goes, there is Vrindavan. And we know, every Magic Gurudev, you come in another bubble. Like, you come in a kind of a Goloka bubble. These bubbles you see in the universe, and there you have Golok Vrindavan. You forget what time, what day, what month, you just forget everything. And that's how I experienced it. I just forget. Days went by. And then Gurudev's main desire was that, please come to Vrindavan. Please come to Mayapur, Navadip Dham and do the parikrama. Because when you do parikrama, all these impressions will come in your heart. So I again invite everyone, please come to Vrindavan. Doesn't matter, you go with Prem Priyojan Prabhu, you go with our IGVT or GVST, whoever, wherever, but come to Braj and just do the parikram under the guidance of Gurudev, who inspired so many of our leading Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Sanyasinis, to come and lead the groups. And here, the Harikatha at the spot in Vrindavan and Navadip Dham. That was Gurudev's last words ever in 2010 in public, that please come to our Navadip Dham parikrama. I also will be there. So he always will be there. When you come, he is there. So these are my final words. Sorry, otherwise it takes very long and you have a meeting and some more things to do. Jai. All glories to Srila Gurudev. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our Sri Guru Panukavarga. And all glories to Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Vanchakalpatarubhashta kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavnibhyo Vaishnava Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Shamarani inspired me. She knows how. So Brajanath Prabhu, he lives in Vrindavan. And he has a very beautiful place near Prabhupada's Samadhi. And that very place where now the new building is where Gurudev stayed for 10 days when he was asked to leave Mathura in 1992 because there was a whole riot of the Muslims who wanted to attack Krishna's birthday place. And then they asked Gurudev to leave also because Well, Gurudeva was not fearful or so, but Satsvarup Maharaj invited him to come and stay with him. And there's a beautiful writing, a diary of him. And I have a copy, I found a copy of that, how he was asking so many questions to Gurudev and how he was answering him. So that very house where he used to stay had been demolished and now a new building is there. And so that is where our new place is, where Gurudev used to stay in Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna, dear most devotees, in the beautiful festival today, which is organized by Srimati Shamarani, I offer my humble Dandavat pranams to all of you, especially to Srimati Shamarani Didi. My name is Brajanath Das, and I am the husband of Vrnda, who is at present with you. And I was requested by her to share something about the first tour that Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, my beloved Gurudev, he traveled for the first time to the Western countries. Today was a day that we boarded the plane and we also arrived in Holy Land. Yeah, it was a beautiful event that I will never forget. And I am very happy to share with all of you a few amazing details that are coming up in my memory. And one of them is that I remember the beautiful mood that Srila Gurudeva inspired within myself and within all the devotees to really use this opportunity to meet with as many devotees as possible who are in any way inspired to develop their Krishna consciousness, but especially those who are already, by the costless mercy of Sri Satchidananda Gaura Hari and the amazing missionary, the savior of the Western world, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who were already inspired and had taken shelter with Srila Prabhupada, to rekindle their enthusiasm so that their bhakti would not become stagnant. Rather, their bhakti should always increase. This was the most beautiful intention with which our beloved Gurudev traveled all over the world, starting today on the 5th of January. So we were in Mathura in 1996. That is a little prelude that happened before we started to travel. But in short, it was the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada that Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj used myself as a small instrument to enter into this amazing period of 15 years traveling all over the world, inspiring the devotees, and especially encouraging one and all to realize that bhakti is a most astonishing process. And it has two aspects. One is the inner process, and the other one is the external process. One is performed by the internal senses, that is the mind, the intellect, and the Atma, or the beautiful identity that we have within us. And the other one is with our external senses, which we are interacting with this material environment that we find ourselves in. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he was very concerned that the devotees would get the complete understanding of what is the process of Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. So before we started in our journey, there was a beautiful history, as I mentioned before, how Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, how he, with great happiness, embarked on this tour, and he was very thankful that all the things came into place, that we could start our journey on 5th of May, arriving in Holy Land. So when we entered in Mathura in the car which was sent by his devotee from Delhi, he requested all the devotees in Mathura to provide their blessings, so that he could always remember Vrindavan and be successful, to bring that mood of pure bhakti, which is the property of the Brajabasis, the eternal associates of Sri Krishna, to bring that mood to the Western countries, to the devotees, so that they would become familiar with the intrinsic identity and nature of pure bhakti. So when Srila Gurudev entered the car, and after receiving the permission and the blessings of all Brajavasis and also of Sri Radha Govinda Dev from Jaipur, always when we would travel outside India in those 15 years, just the day before we would start our travel, there would come a beautiful gift from Sri Radha Govinda Ji in Jaipur. That was the Mahaprasadam, which we brought with us, and also some beautiful items as confirmation that their full blessings are with Srila Gurudev. And we also were very fortunate to be part of that wonderful service. So we also obtained special blessings from Sri Radha Govinda Ji. So that day, in the afternoon after lunch, we entered the car, and Srila Gurudev, first of all, he told me, you sit in the front. Yeah, I was not quite new, but I was not accustomed to the familiarity with which Gurudev interacted with his brahmacharis and the devotees who were with him for a long time. But my heart was hankering for that beautiful, intimate interaction. So as we were entering the car, as I mentioned, Srila Gurudev mentioned to me, you sit in the front. And I looked at him, I said, well, as if to say, but this is your place. You are the most important personality who's going to travel. Yeah. But Gurudev was insisting, no, you sit in the front, and don't worry, I will sit in the back with, at that time, Naveen Krishna Brahmachari, now Pujipat Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj. So as we were going to the highway between Agra and Delhi from Mathura, I realized the real purpose why Gurudev requested me to sit in the front. Although Gurudev mentioned you have a big body, you should sit in the front. But then I looked behind me as we were on the highway, and then I saw Gurudev taking rest on the lap of Madhav Maharaj. Yeah, and I was very happy to see that. Then I could understand the intimacy of Gurudev's relationship with Pujipat Madhav Maharaj. After about half an hour, he was sitting up, and then he asked me, he said, do you know why we are going now to Western countries? And I replied to Gurudev that, Gurudev, I only know that you're going to make everyone fortunate by visiting all the places that we have in our schedule. All devotees will become fortunate. Then Gurudev mentioned there are 4 reasons why I wish to go to Western countries. And he said the first one is I would like to go, with so much happiness and eagerness to all the places where Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, where he has placed his lotus feet, where he has opened temples. I want to go to those places, and I want to perform, some special beautiful seva there. I want to do my Dandavat Pranams and take the dust from that place and smear it all over my body. And then he became overwhelmed with emotion. And he mentioned, I want his blessings, he said. I want his full mercy, that I can assist him. I know that he is not ordinary personality, not even ordinary devotee. He is the empowered, a missionary ambassador of Sri Satyanandana Gaura Hari. And he has come to bring the pure conceptions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, the Gauravani Pracharine, all over the western, eastern, all parts of this earth planet. And I wish to assist him. I want his mercy, as he requested me at the time of his departure, that please help my devotees. I want that he gives his full mercy to me, that I can help his devotees. So when we go any place, whether now in Holy Land in the first place, I wish to visit the places where he had opened temples and take the dust from that earth where his lotus feet have touched, and smear it all over my body, so that I will obtain his blessings. This was his mood, and Gurudev became very grateful and at the same time very appreciative and emotional when he explained that to us. After that he said the second reason why we are going. I wish that wherever we go, that all the devotees who have lost their inspiration, their enthusiasm, their happiness to practice Krishna consciousness, that they obtain again new life, new inspiration, new nourishment. And I want to give them some very powerful drops of nourishment, so that their creeper, their bhakti, lata, their creeper which has been placed in their heart by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, that it again starts to blossom and beautiful fruits will come. This is my heart's desire. Wherever we go, I want to meet with the devotees who are initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and I will embrace them. And really, I wish from core of my heart that they should be happy and they should continue to serve their spiritual master. So then again, he paused and he said, do you understand? Then I said, yes, Gurudev. And participate in this beautiful service to establish the glories of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And then Gurudev mentioned, yes, it is essential that they come to know what are his real glories, that he did not only come to spread the glories of the holy name and to build temples and to publish books and distribute books and make everyone dance with great happiness and joy and participate in festivals, but rather that they know that his real glories was that who is he really? What is his real identity in the spiritual, transcendental dimension? That they should know that he is an eternal associate of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada in the spiritual realm of Goloka Vrindavan. That he is a Radha Dasya, Radha Dasi, and that he is always absorbed in Nikunya, Rati Keri Side, Yayali Bir Yuktira Peksaniya, Tatrati Dakshat, Ati Balabhasya, Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. This I want to tell them, and I want to convince them that they should not only think that the service that he rendered in the world that we perceive around us is the most important service, but rather that he came to bring the teachings of Raga Anuga Bhakti, which is the Gauravani Pracharine. You are all quite familiar with this because I know for sure that Srimati Shamarani is again and again reminding you about these beautiful teachings. So Gurudev was very happy when he said that this is the second reason. And the third reason, he said, why I want to go, what we will do, wherever we will go, we will honor all the Vaishnavas, he said. When we go to any part of the world, whether we go to America, to England or Europe, whoever is responsible, if it is any zone that ISKCON has developed, and there is any leader, GBC or anyone, whether they are happy or not that we are coming, we will honor them. We will not in any way disrespect them. I want to honor all the devotees who sincerely endeavor, according to their adhikar, to serve the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the shelter of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's teachings and institution. This is my third desire and my third purpose to fulfill, he said. And then he said, all devotees, they may know or not, they may be very worried that, oh, Srila Narayana Maharaj is coming, he will take our devotees. Yeah. They should not be worried at all. Yeah. I don't want anything from them. I have not come to take anything from anyone, neither from those who are in the Western world and have accumulated so many properties and wealth. I don't want anything from them. I also don't want anything from the devotees who are within the institution of ISKCON. I don't want to take their followers. I want that their followers should become, their members should become happy forever in Krishna consciousness. So he said, this is my heart's desire. And if anything, those who have faith in me, they can be sure that I only will help them to develop their heart to become the most beautiful place of seva. That is called Seva Kunja. The place of seva that I want to bring from Vrindavan, from Seva Kunja in Vrindavan, from Radha Kunja in the beautiful settings of Sri Giriraj Govardhan. That mood that is present there, where Sri Krishna himself is always absorbed in serving the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. That mood of Krishna consciousness I wish to bring in the heart of all the devotees who will listen to me. Yeah. So this was such a beautiful, as we were driving, I just became more and more happy, and I wish that I would be able to assist in any proper way. My heart's desire was that I could in any way be supporting these beautiful intentions with which Srila Gurudeva set out on his first journey towards the West. Then he said one more thing. He said, I want that wherever we go, anywhere on our journey, that we should have a lot of fun, he said. Yeah. And he was laughing. He said, I know that Srila Swami Prabhupada was always very jolly. Yeah. We had such beautiful interactions. And he loved to laugh. And when he laughed, it would be an amazing experience. Yeah. One of his early admirers who were assisting Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to travel to the West, they actually shared, I think it was the lady who received Srila Prabhupada in Butler on his first journey, that he said Srila Swami Maharaj, he had an oceanic smile. That is a new term in the English dictionary. An oceanic smile. How he smiled, Prabhupada. Unbelievable. So Gurudev said, I know that he likes so much to laugh and to joke. Yeah. Because I always spent my days with him in Sisi Radha Damodar, assisting him, and we used to discuss so much. And I saw him with my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And they always joked, and they had so much fun. And Krishna consciousness is a very happy process. It is not that one should become sad or miserable, rather the opposite. If one becomes sad and miserable, then something what we do is wrong. Devotee should always be happy. Practicing devotee from beginning, our life has no longer the same quality that we used to experience. Rather now, we have received the supreme, most fortunate opportunity to become happy from within. The soul who's hankering for real happiness now becomes alive. So Krishna consciousness is the most happy process. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Vrnda Swami Maharaj used to say, if there is any process that will make me more happy and which will be more complete, I will at once accept that process. But up to now, only the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by themselves and the beautiful teachings of Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and the beautiful glorifications of pure bhakti in Srimad Bhagavatam, what to speak, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, they are the most fulfilling, the most nourishing, and the most inspiring to bring out the most amazing potential of our heart, that we can be happy forever in transcendental Ananda. So Srila Gurudeva said these four things we are now going to aspire to implement in our journey to the West. So then, as we arrived to Delhi, our flight was in the evening, around 11 o'clock. We would leave, or maybe it was even 1 o'clock. I think 1 o'clock in the early morning of the 5th of May. We took off with Royal Dutch Airlines, KLM flight. It was the first, I think, flight of some of the brahmacharis who were with us, like Pundarik Prabhu and Naveen Krishna Brahmachari. Maybe they did some domestic flights, but the first international flight. And somehow or other, there is a whole story how we got the visas together. It was a great, amazing story, and I was very lucky to be part of those amazing experiences. But we had all the visas: America visa, Canada visa, England visa, UK, and European visa. Now we set off at 1 o'clock in KLM. We boarded the flight. Everything went well in time. And we set off, and we had 4 seats in economy class. We booked economy class. That was like the only flight we booked in economy class. After that tour, we always traveled, at least Srila Gurudeva, in business class. But anyhow, it was the beginning of a great revolution, which will unfold. If I have a few more minutes, I can share that with you. But now, on the flight, so we had 4 seats, and I requested the flight attendants if the 3 of us, or at least 2 of us, 3 of us could switch seats a little bit, that Srila Gurudev could lay flat on the middle. We had a middle row, so they were very helpful, and we were sitting nearby so that we could have a watchful eye, and we allowed Srila Gurudev to take some rest in the plane, which was, as we heard from Srila Gurudev's own lecture, a new experience for him, and the excitement, everything didn't allow him to sleep very much. So anyhow, we arrived at 7 o'clock in the morning in Holy Land, and that day, 5th of May 1996, in the centennial year of Srila Bhakti Vrnda Swami Prabhupada, that day everyone in Holland was very joyful, and that day is a very special day in the history of Holland, or let us say Holy Land. Why? Because they all celebrated the liberation after the Second World War. That was Liberation Day. But really, I knew that this is the real Liberation Day for the devotees, for all the inhabitants, the trees, all living entities in Holland, that now Krishna's pure devotee, who is representing the most precious gift, the most precious treasure, the most valuable treasure of Braja Bhakti, not only Braja Bhakti, but especially the beauty of the mood of Srimati Radharani's service, Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam. To bring that to the inhabitants, not only of Holy Land, but whole Europe, whole world. Little did we know. Now I realize something, that this is going to happen, that is going to take place now. But it was like an historical moment. And as we arrived in Holy Land, on the airport of Amsterdam, Schiphol, devotees were waiting, about 30 devotees were there, with kirtan and mridanga, and Gurudev was crying. And we all started to cry, because it was such an emotional, such an amazing experience. And Gurudev became so happy. Then we traveled to the place where Vrnda and myself had arranged for Gurudev's hosting. It was in a place that we ourselves were occupying, our own, what we call it, place of seva in the middle of Holland. Very nice place with cows everywhere, all over, and Gurudev stayed there. And very soon, devotees started to come, who we knew for many years, and within 3-4 days, 35 devotees were ready to take initiation. So we were very happy. Very beautiful episodes. Vrnda will tell more, because she was fully there. I don't want to take too much time, because you want to hear from Vrnda also. But one small thing I want to mention. At once I shared with Srila Gurudev. Now I said, Shamarani, who has served you so much and is never ever ungrateful to you, somehow or other, she is nearby in Europe, and ISKCON is trying, the leaders in ISKCON, to persuade her not to have any relationship with you, but I know she cannot forget you. It is impossible for anyone who has any exchange with Srila Gurudev to forget him. As I knew her, not so intimately as now, but at that time already I had a great affection for Srimati Shamarani. I said, shall we make some arrangement to bring her here? He said, yes, of course, we want her. We want that everyone who has any capacity and any sympathy for us, that they should be with us, and especially Srimati Shamarani, she should be with us during the whole tour. So I called her up, and I think she was in Spain, and I said, you must come at once. Don't listen to any arguments, logic, that they try to convince you that it is not necessary, you can stay, they can offer you whatever they want to offer you. There is no better place than to be situated in the association of rustic devotee like Srila Gurudev at his lotus feet, and we really will be overjoyed if you are joining us. And sure enough, within no time she came over, and she stayed with us ever since. Now she is guiding all of you in the beautiful center in Miami. A small, short pastime I will also share with you, just to complete my presentation, and to just share with you what is the real significance of Srila Gurudev's starting this beautiful service to assist Srila Prabhupada in touring everywhere in the world. Although his intention was to go only once, but very soon he said, when they do not invite me anymore, I will just stay in Vrindavan after we completed the first tour. But he says, if they invite me again, I will be so happy to go and help the devotees wherever they are. So then Gurudev started touring all over the world more than 30 times in 15 years. We had so many beautiful experiences. And up to now, I realize more and more the deep significance of Srila Gurudev's service with Srila Prabhupada for the benefit of all aspiring devotees, all perfected devotees, all those who want to become happy really in their life. They should take full shelter of the teachings of Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada and our previous acharyas. Small last pastime. As we arrived in England, we were very fortunate to meet with my very good friend Sriman Budar Prabhu. As he hosted Gurudev for some days in Bath in England, the city is called Bath, in his residence we stayed there, and as we entered his residence, Gurudev told him, the first thing he said, I have heard that you are a very qualified astrologer. can you tell the future? Then Buddha Prabhu replied, no, Gurudev, I am not at all qualified in astrology. You are the real astrologer. No, Gurudev said, I have heard, I want to hear something. Then Buddha Prabhu, he agreed, and then he wrote down the time that Gurudev asked the question, and he asked some questions to Pujapat Madhav Maharaj about Gurudev's Rasi and other things which I am not so familiar with in astrological calculations. And then after a short time, he came to Srila Gurudev and he said that I have noted down all the exact details, and I wish to inform you that what you are now presenting to the devotees all over the world, not only the devotees, but to all inhabitants of this world, you will create a movement that has never ever been established before. When I heard this, I was shocked. I thought, but already Prabhupada has made the greatest movement and he has created a revolution. Is it possible to create anything that is even more wonderful and more influential? So at that time I could not, because I was not so familiar with the intricate nature of pure bhakti, I could not understand what was the deep meaning of this. But Gurudev was chuckling when he heard this. He said, can you tell me? He asked Buddha Prabhu something more. Then Buddha Prabhu said, wherever you will go, anyone who tries to create any obstacles for you, it will become a stepping stone to even become more and more evident how glorious is your service to Srila Prabhupada and to all living entities in this world. Gurudev became more happy, and then he said, can you tell me till how long it will last? Then Sriman Buddha Prabhu replied, I can only see up to 2010, he said. I cannot see beyond that. And it was 1996, and as I was hearing this, I thought, wow, up to 2010, it will continue, and Gurudev's body, that although transcendental, no doubt that Srimati Shamrani will explain to you how the pure devotee's body is never ever material, completely transcendental. But still it was 76 years old, and already there were some areas that we need to be careful about. But when I heard 2010, that is another 15 years, then Srila Gurudev will be then residing in a body that is 90 years old. I became overjoyed. How wonderful, how amazing. And I prayed, may I be able to be with him, as that was his first instruction to me, personal instruction, as at the time of initiation in 1993. He told me, I want that you will always be with me. And I became so happy when he told that I considered, how does he know my heart? And ever then, and even, up till this very day, I always feel so much that the heart's desires of Srila Gurudev, they so much synchronize with my deep heart's desires. So I am very happy to share this with you, and I also wish you the greatest success in your spiritual endeavors, and I pray that you will obtain the best association the rest of your journey in this life, this physical body that you are inhabiting at this moment, that you will have the best experiences with the best association. And my own ideal, which I will then just share with you, and then I will stop my presentation, that always try to be with the most advanced devotees and serve them and obtain their heart's affection. And not only that, try to somehow or other obtain their blessings. That you will obtain that very amazing mood that is the property of those who have 24 hours absorption in Krishna Bhakti Rasa. This is the definition of Krishna consciousness, and it is very dear to all Rasik Jan, especially to Srila Bhakti Vrnda Swami Prabhupada, who thought about the name of his society when he thought about International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He mentions in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that I at once remembered the definition that is given by Padjavali, which is presented by Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kriyatam Yati Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Loyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Dyanma Koti Sukriti Na Labhyate. Vrnda will explain the deep meaning, if you know the meaning of this beautiful definition of Krishna consciousness. And you again and again ask Srimati Shamarani to help you explain again and again, that it may become the greatest guideline in your spiritual journey. Vancha kalpatarupyasya kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Assembled devotees ki jai, Srimati Shamarani Devi Dasi ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gol. Hare Krishna.
Would you like to say something?
Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. There's bhakti and there's bhakti ras. Bhakti is worshipping the Lord in awe and reverence with no particular relationship except as a general servant. And Krishna Bhakti Ras is a particular relishable relationship, like being a mother, being a friend, being a beloved, being a maidservant. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. To attain this, Krishna Bhakti Ras, it's very, very rare. And it cannot be had by millions of births of spiritual pious activities, meaning Vaidhi Bhakti. It can only be had by paying one price, and that price is the intense greed to obtain it. That's it. And Prabhupada said, this is the definition of ISKCON. I've named ISKCON after this. And he would also tell us often, back in 1966, which was his first year with his temple, first temples, he said, as Rupa Goswami said, Krishna consciousness can be purchased by one price, which is the anxiety to have it. So that's it. And Gurudev used to quote that a lot, that Prabhupada said this is the definition of ISKCON, is Raganuga Bhakti.